What's up, guys? This week's Champion Trends feature Kog'Maw, Yasuo, Nidalee, Kennen, Evelynn, and Jax. I'm Lindsay Geektron with ZAM Network, and this is LolKing's League Trends. Let's dive into Summoner's Rift. This week, the increases in pick rate has Tristana up almost 5% from last week. Gragas, Vladimir, Kog'Maw, and Syndra follow up. Kog'Maw has seen a boon in popularity this week, with picks and bans spanning the globe in competitive play. He hasn't had a change since the Caustic Spittle and Bio Arcane Barrage rework a few patches ago. What really makes Kog'Maw popular now are the nerfs to Bloodthirster and the buffs to Blade of the Ruined King. The nerf to Bloodthirster penalized players who rushed the item. It created weaker champions overall, mostly due to the removal of the passive and the increased gold cost. Against champions who prioritized BT over Bork, Kog is a formidable opponent. He has poke, long-range auto attacks, and percentage health damage, useful for shredding tanks. With the decline of assassin champs like LeBlanc and Kha'Zix, and the rise of utility champions like Lulu and Orianna, Kog fits into a team comp's backline nicely. He has a strong laning phase, but his late game is where he really shines. For the present, the mouth of the Abyss will be on the Rift, eating everything he sees. Aw, that's kind of adorable. Champions on the decrease in pick rates this week include Caitlyn, Lucian, Kayle, Lee Sin, and Yasuo. The Unforgiven was nerfed a tiny bit in the most recent patch, which is why he shows up at the Sad Kids lunch table. The bonus damage on his Sweeping Blade caps at 50% with 2 stacks instead of 100% at 4 stacks. Due to his strong split-pushing abilities and his insane late-game scaling, Yasuo has been in the competitive scene since his release date last December. Like a well-crafted weapon in the right hands, he can be really deadly. Players like Samsung Galaxy Dade and Pawn are both renowned Yasuo players, and yet, because of their skills, they rarely get to play competitively with him. More so than other champions, Yasuo's power spikes throughout a game are kinda more item dependent. With the right items like Static Shiv, he's able to split push. Give him an Infinity Edge and he'll be able to make quick work of teamfights. Teamfighting with Yasuo, however, can be very tricky because his ultimate will only activate on targets that have been knocked up. Other knock-up-inducing champs like Lulu and Thresh synergize well with Yasuo because of this. Look for Yasuo in competitive for some time. Some things never dull. Increases in win rates this week have Cassiopeia slithering her way to the top. Urgot, Nidalee, Diana, and Sejuani finish off the list. After her rework, the small buffs to her kit turned Nidalee into one of the most anticipated champions to be played in the LCS. She's been hobbling along the Rift since her initial rework, but it looks like that's all changing. The new and shiny Nidalee is not the health-chunking spear thrower we all used to know and love. Instead, she's more of a top laner, split-pushing kind of girl. Running AD boosts her auto attacks, which then help Nidalee harass the opposing laner out of lane. She has Sustain and an attack speed steroid, which takes care of any melee champions that get too close. Rushing a Triforce, her core item, yields immediate benefits. Procs from Sheen will help her take down towers quickly as she split pushes. Movement speed will help her get out of sticky situations. As things stand now, Nidalee is beginning to look a lot like Jax. Another Jax? Rito, please. The champs on the decrease in win rates include Kayle, and Navia, Skarner, Lissandra, and Kennen. Ever since his nerf last season, Kennen has all but disappeared in competitive play. Like Nidalee, in the laning phase, Kennen is able to bully out his opponent with his long-range auto attacks. Even though Kennen typically builds AP items, starting with Adorn's Blade will make his auto attacks far more potent. Kennen is ineffective in a 1v2 scenario, and if he can't get ahead in the laning phase, his mid-game becomes limited. Ideally, a push for haunting guys first increases Kennen's effectiveness. However, Azania's Hourglass would work in a pinch. The Heart of the Tempest excels at flanking initiations with the help of his ultimate, Slicing Maelstrom. It could potentially knock up and hit each target caught in the storm up to 3 times. With a few well-timed ultis from this guy, he may actually be somewhat viable on the Rift. Increases in ban rates this week show Lulu and Evelynn both up over 9% from last week. Morgana, Yasuo, and Braum complete the list. The moment she became viable again, Evan has been a huge pain in the butt. Her passive allows her to stay invisible until she enters combat or is seen by an enemy pink ward. When you think about it, she's the only jungler that actually has global pressure from constant paranoia. Added scare bonus, she can see your pings and snuff them out. So much gold. Ouch. Something simple as farming still applies pressure with Evelynn. With Hexdrinker and Randuin's Omen, Eve turns into a flanking tank. Hooray! With the whole invisibility thing, she can sneak up onto an enemy team and use her ultimate as a slow, and then to soak up damage. You'll definitely be seeing more of Evelyn in your future games. Finally, the champions on the decrease in ban rates this week show Kayle down from around 63% to 34.5%. Jax, Garner, LeBlanc, and Nidalee trail behind. In the long list of nerfs on patch 4.11, Jax was definitely a major line item. His damage was untouched, however, his overall tankiness was hit. His base health, health per level, and armor per level had all been reduced. Pre-patch Jax, players would rush damage items like a Bork before tankier items. Post-patch Jax, reverse that. Players who now exploit the fact that Jax had been able to build damage before tank will now be at a disadvantage. Damage early means to focus split pushing and avoid team fights until late game. These changes have also made other champions more effective against him. Renekton and Shyvana can punish Jax much longer in lane and keep his scaling in check. We won't be seeing the Grandmaster at Arms as much as before, however, he is still a very viable champion. Hooray! And that does it for this week's show. Please be sure to check back every week for the latest League of Legends, picks, bans, and win rates. Please be sure to like and comment below if you like this video especially. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, LolKing.net, for more great content. I'm Lindsay Geektron. You can follow me on Twitch at Lindsay Geektron. Thanks everyone so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next week.